Hi everyone, good evening to all of you. I hope all of you are good. Welcome back to the reading practice session. Am I audible, Kushal? You are the only one messaging. Good evening. Okay, thank you. So let's start with today's practice test, and there are somewhat lesser students today still joining. Okay, so put your answers in 2.5 minutes in the chat box and then listen to the discussions properly. Also, please keep noting the things. There are a few vocab words in today's test which are quite common, so they will be very helpful if you will make a note of those for your exam's point of view, and then we will have discussions. So the first question on the screen, 2.5 minutes for this, and then please share your answers, and you can start now. Thank you, Suman. I would have felt really bad if none of you would have given a correct answer. The first sentence says corruption is a global dash, and with a, all of you are writing a plural answer. All these days I have been repeating, please check singular plural. With a comes a singular noun. Every day, almost every day we do this, but still see your first attempt. And you know, when you come back from the exam and if the exam was very good, you do these things in the exam only. Corruption is a growing global dash. So with a, it has to be a singular noun. Things, words that end with, stop typing your answers now. Words that end with IVE are not nouns, they are adjectives. So extensive is eliminated. Drought is one particular situation where there is lack of water and the crops dry out and we don't have food. That is called drought. It has nothing to do with corruption. The only answer you were left with, and very easy, was epidemic. I'm not going with the meaning, just going with elimination. But you have gone with meanings that epidemic is used for diseases, so it cannot be the answer. And a lot of times I've told you not to use your brains. Don't trust yourself so much. There are chances that you might not know all the uses of a word, so don't trust your knowledge so much. Doubt yourself, then the grammar. So yes, epidemic is generally, mostly, specifically used for when you want to highlight a particular disease which is very widespread, like this COVID-19 before being declared a pandemic. It was an epidemic. But it can be used as a metaphor for, like here, corruption. They are using corruption. They are describing corruption as a disease, that it has infected everybody here, that everybody is corrupt. In that sense, they are using it. But you should not have gone with context. Even if you would have gone with just singular plural and we need a noun, the answer should have been correct. So wake up and try. Please use the hints that you learn every day. Our understanding of its causes is limited. Combining data from several sources, the current article tests the validity of social support theory in explaining corruption in an dash structural model. So with and comes something with a vowel. So combined and consolidated cannot be the answer. And model is already the noun we have. So in dash model, what kind of model? That means we need an adjective. Amalgamation is a noun. Every word that ends with 𝗙𝗍𝗀 is a noun. So that is not our answer. So we have only one option left. Integrated, and yes, it goes with an as well. And it is a describing word. Which kind of model? Integrated model. The findings support our theoretical speculation. What is that? Our social support measure is a strong dash of corruption. So whenever we have a blank before of, we put a noun in that blank. A strong dash of corruption. Predict is not a noun. Words that end with ER and OR are nouns, if you have done the grammar video. Words that end with IVE and ING are verbs. So we had only one noun in the options given, which was a strong predictor of corruption in the model. Dash with a comma, and we have connectors in the options. So the first thing you should check is, are all the connectors in the option, do they come with a comma? Beyond does not come with a comma. As well does not come with a comma. It's not even a connector. As well as should be used. Adding is not a connector. Adding to it is a connector. So we had only one connector that comes with a comma, which is in addition. Undemocratic governments with inadequate checks and balances indirectly contribute to the high levels of corruption. Democracy promotes human development and dash social support for citizens. What is the verb they have used? They have used first form of verb with S. Democracy promotes one and dash two. So just short, just making the sentence short. Democracy promotes this and dash that. So we will also go with first form of verb with S, and there is only one option, bolsters. So present tense with S, present tense with S. So democracy promotes this and bolsters dash. bolsters that, sorry. So simply the writing style. These are types of questions that you get in the exam, and that is why we always keep on emphasizing again and again that even if you don't understand the context, just make your grammar point strong. Now, I don't really want to mean that all of the questions come like this, but even if you get one question like this and you can solve it in 30, 40, 50, 60 seconds, you can save 1.5 minutes from this question, which you can spend on a question which actually needs understanding of context, right? So the first answer is we needed a singular noun. That's why the answer is epidemic. And model and dash model. So type of model, integrated is the only noun adjective that we have because model is already the noun given. A strong dash of corruption. So before blank, before of, if we have a blank, we'll go with the noun again. And if you look at the options, predictor is the only noun, rest all others are forms of verbs. In addition is the only connector that comes with a comma. And the last one was just based on writing style. They have used present tense form of verb. So we will also copy present tense form of verb, which is bolsters. So whenever you have a blank after article a, and, or the, then you always put a noun in that blank. Now don't tell me that growing and global are already words. These are adjectives. So growing and global are describing something. That what is growing? What is global? The answer to what is always a noun. When they have written corruption is a. Do we use is with a plural thing? Is means what? Corruption is used as a singular word here. So I hope it is clear now. And it should be. Okay, question number 2 on the screen, and you have 2.5 minutes for this, and then post your answer, please. Okay, should be done. The first one most of you have done wrong. Studies focusing the impact of computer models to support policy making processes in organizations. Now, please try to understand this writing style. They say studies and then they say focusing. That means they are explaining which studies we are talking about. So if I elaborate it a bit, the meaning can be studies which focus on the impact, so on the impact of computer models. That means we are talking about these studies. So this was explanation about studies. Your sentence should have understood as studies dash that client involvement in the model building process is often a dash for effective model building. Most of you have written are indicated. So who is indicating? Are indicated means you feel this is a passive statement. So that means somebody is indicating the studies. Where is that somebody here? And how do you come to know that somebody else is indicating you something? Why did not you think that studies are indicating us something? Because it is written that. That means studies are doing something, and what is that something is given after that. So it was studies have indicated that studies have shown us, indicated to be easy. Studies have shown. What have they shown? That means this is what they have shown. This is what they have indicated. The work is done by studies, not somebody else is indicating us the study. So please clarify your concepts of active and passive. You're still making mistakes in that. And those who have written indicating, we need studies are indicating that. Without are, we cannot put ing form of verb to fit in the sentence here. And had cannot be the answer because we are in present tense. So we don't want had here. Are and have was difference of passive voice and active voice. Nobody else is doing the work. Studies are doing the work. That is why we say studies have shown. And what have they shown? They have shown that client involvement in the model building process is often a dash for effective model building. Now with a comes a noun. Let's look at the options. Pillar, maintenance, substructured, and support. First of all, words that end with easy are not nouns, they are verbs or adjectives. Substructured cannot be the answer. Maintenance can be a noun, but does it fit here? Client involvement in a process is a maintenance. So involving client is not maintenance. Maintenance is like doing the repair work and kind of things. Out of pillar and support, yes, it was a bit confusing. So if you would have written pillar or support, that's fine because that's actually confusing. But here the answer is support because let's say you are making a plan to make the project for your client. And if you involve your client in that project making, so that you're asking questions on what kind of project do you need, what timeline do you want me to finish, do you have any specifications? So those things are going to help you to make your project in a better way. So if you're getting help, that means that thing is supporting you to prepare whatever you are doing. But pillar is a very strong word. Pillar means like a backbone. That without that client, or we use like my father is the pillar of our house. That means backbone. He's the main person. That is how we use the word pillar in terms of strength or support. But here, taking help from client is not the pillar, is not the base of. You are getting help from so that you can make the arrangements better. So that is called support here. Support can be a noun as well. Is often a support for effective model building. One important reason is that the process of model building is frequently more important than the resulting model. Model building itself is a dash process. So is a process about the problem. The sentence is complete. We have a process. So still we have a blank in between. Process is a noun. That means we need adjective. What kind of process is model building? Critical, evaluative, criticizing, analytic. So INGs are verbs, not adjectives. So we can eliminate that. Out of critical, evaluative, and analytic, the most academic word is critical, which also means evaluative and analytic. So you can note down the meanings of critical here. One meaning of critical is very serious, like we say the patient is critical in ICU. That means very serious. In that sense, we use critical. One meaning of critical is analyzing, evaluating, examining, or being analytic about the goods and bads of something. That is also called critical. Like we say, critical analysis of something. So this means a critical process, means evaluative, analytic. Both the words also come in this definition of critical. And then they say most planning about the characteristics of an ill-structured problem are gained during the evolving process of dash a computer model. So with of comes ing form of verb. When we look at the options, we have only one ing form of verb. So we'll go with that, of designing a computer model. And yes, designing verb matches with the noun model also. We design the models if we go with the contextual matching. Right? So these are the answers. The first one is based on active passive. So studies have indicated. When did I say have is singular? Has comes with singular and have comes with plural. Make your notes correctly. So have comes with plural, has comes with singular. So it says studies have indicated. Now I explain what is active passive here. Studies have shown us. What have they shown? That client involvement in the model making is often a dash, is often a support, because if you involve your client, you just get some kind of help. So this is a support for us. Support can be a noun, support can be a verb as well. And then third one was a process. So what kind of process? Critical, as I said, is the most academic option out of critical, evaluative, and analytic. Critical means evaluative and analytic both. So that is why it is more academic, and we should be using that. And the last one after of comes ing form of verb. No, in the third one, noun is already written. If you read the sentence, it is complete. Model building itself is largely a process. That means sentence is complete. Noun is already there. If the sentence is complete, then we put adjective before noun if there is a blank. Okay. So 𝗙𝗍𝗃, if we say studies focusing something and something indicating, don't we need a helping verb? Can we frame a sentence without helping verb? Is it right English? To frame a sentence, we can say, children drawing the cartoon, eating the food. Is it right? So we cannot say that, na? Children drawing the cartoon, eating the food. So that's wrong English. You have to say children drawing the cartoon have eaten their food. That is right English. Got it? Yes, after of comes for ing form of verb, continuous form of verb. So, and what did I say for the third blank? Critical means both evaluative and analytic. So both of them are equal. So we cannot select one out of evaluative and analytic. That is why we have selected critical, because critical means both of them. No, the paragraph is not in continuous form. There's no one rule to use present perfect tense, Amrit. There can be a lot of situations where we have to use present perfect tense, but particularly in active voice. Okay, third question on the screen, and please start making the notes properly and start using those things. What is it? Oh yes, thank you, Mrs. Parita. Parita said if you want to put evaluative and analytic, there should be and there. And that's right, we cannot use evaluative and analytic with a. So we had only one option, critical. Even see, the things are even easier than than sometimes we discuss. And that is the thing you need to realize, that how you solve the things can be solved even in an easier way. Thank you, Parita. And that's why rules are so important. So third question on the screen, and you have 2.5 minutes, and then post your answers, please. All right, let's start the discussion. So this says the Brazilian educator and dash theorist Mr. P has convinced me that scholarship is a dash process. So try to understand what do they want you to fill in the blank. They have said this person is a Brazilian educator and dash theorist Paulo Freire. So if you put illustrious, which means eminent, or illustrious means well respected, that will mean that he was a well respected theorist. That means he was not a well respected educator. So if we want to put eminent or well respected here, that will mean that he was only respected for being a theorist. Whereas we use eminent word or illustrious word for overall as an individual's personality. That this person was really illustrious, means very well respected, very eminent, did a lot of work or had a lot of achievements. Not in one of his career fields when you have the other career field also written. So in that sense, it's better to go with general options like this person was really influential, because influential can be an overall thing that we can say as a theorist, he was very influential. The Brazilian educator and influential theorist, inspiring, inspirational has to be the word to serve as an adjective, and immense means a lot of. That doesn't make sense here. Has convinced me that scholarship is a process. Again, with a process is already there, so we need an adjective. What kind of process? Conversation is a noun, conference is a noun, dialogical negotiation. So everything was a noun, just dialogical was the only word which is not a noun here. So it was again not based on the meaning of dialogical, simply based on others were nouns. TION, and conference, we know it's a thing. According to Freire, the contributions of one scholar have no meaning if they stand alone. The value of any work becomes dash only when that work dialogues with the work that has gone before. So here work becomes something. What does the work become? Work becomes seeming. Seeming is not a thing. Seeming is a verb. Manifest again is a verb. Manifest means support. Apparent means clear. Plain means plain is as a word here. As a word, it is used in a bit negative way. When you want to say that something was not very good, it was so plain. Means nothing impressive was there. Then we use the word plain. But here it will be work becomes clear. That's the only thing that can describe a work. Work becomes apparent only when the work dialogues with the work that has gone before. For this reason, we do literature reviews. For this reason, we include in our dash an implications section. So include in dash a section. In what thing can we include a section? Manuscripts, automated publishing, mechanically. So they are doing literature reviews. That means definitely something in writing, like books, magazines, novels, or manuscripts. At least it's something in written form. So in their manuscripts, they have a special section called implications section. So a section cannot be in automated or publishing or mechanically, are not the things in which we write something, right? So these are the answers. The first one is he was a Brazilian educator. He was influential theorist. Influential meaning somebody was asking. Influential would just mean that if you read something written by that person, you will get impacted. Like he said, he has convinced me. So convinced is not like verbally convinced. By reading the work of that person, you feel like, no, he's right. That is convincing part. That is being influential. And that scholarship is a process. So what kind of process? We had only one adjective. All other three were nouns. So we'll go with dialogical. And the third one, work becomes dash. Work becomes something. Seeming is not a thing. Manifest means support. To provide support is called manifest. To support someone is called, or something is called manifest. It's used as a verb. And plain is a bit negative word, that it has nothing impressive, nothing great. That's plain. So we'll say work becomes apparent, means work becomes more strong, clear, powerful when it matches with the work of other people. And we include in our dash and implication section, we are talking about something in writing. So we include in our manuscripts because Nothing else is a writing theme, right? Negotiations. Negotiations cannot come because it's a noun, and we don't need a noun. There's no use of is and are here. Negotiation is a noun. Noun is already written, Amrit. You have to read the sentence. It's a complete sentence. Scholarship is a process. What kind of process? That means adjective. Manifest means support. Right? Question number 4, 2.5 minutes, and then post your answers. All right, are we done? Let's look at the answers. Dash element 99 was discovered in 1952 at this department. Scientists have performed very few experiments with it. So when we have two parts in the sentence and the second part is using present perfect has or have, and if you have these kind of options, your answer will be since, because since come with present perfect tense. This can be opposite also in the exam, that they can give you since written, since element 99 was discovered something and something. Then they say, comma, scientists dash very few experiment, and they can give you options like performed, has performed, have performed, are performing. So this rule is basically important, that if the sentence starts with since, then in the second part they will use present perfect, that is has and have will be used. So it's a common rule which comes in the exam. So it said, since element 99 was discovered at this laboratory from the dash of the first hydrogen bomb. So after the, before of, if we have a blank, we always fill noun in that case. So this was discovered from the dash of hydrogen bomb. Discarded, ending with ed, is never a noun. Melting ing is a verb. Remaining is a verb. So what are we left with? Debris. Debris basically means waste of. So it's a noun, so that will be the answer. From the debris of the first hydrogen bomb, scientists have performed very few experiments with it because it is so hard to create and is radioactive. The sentence is complete. Still we have a blank. So we should look for ly options, means how much radioactive it is. So we have to find an adverb to define, to further describe how much radioactive. So if we look at the options, we only have one adverb given. Exceptionally radioactive means very, very radioactive. So exceptionally means very much. Then they say a team of chemists dash these obstacles. This blank, I think we have done hundreds of times. Still wrong. The word written before of is the noun of the sentence. I told you so many times, chemists is not the noun to select your answer. The word written before of is noun. Team means singular, a team, one team. So you cannot have are and have because are and have come with plural options. So a team has overcome the obstacles or a team is challenging. So we don't challenge the obstacles, we solve them. So overcome is the right word. A team has overcome these obstacles to report the first study categorizing some of its properties, opening the door to a better understanding of the remaining transuransic dash of the actinide series. Okay, opening the door to better understanding of the remaining dash of the series. So we were talking about element. So we'll talk about remaining elements based on the context. How do you know they were protons? Over intelligence. We are talking about elements. So this is the remaining elements of the series. So since comes with have and has. So based on that rule, we have selected since. After the, before of, we needed a noun and debris was the only noun in the option. Third one, we needed ly adverb because the sentence is absolutely complete and there was only one adverb given to us. Team is singular, so we cannot select are and have, they come with plural. And we don't challenge the obstacles, that is why we have selected has overcome means solved the obstacles. And the last one, because they were talking about one element, so we'll say remaining elements. Right? While means when two things are happening at the same time. That is when we use while. The one with WHILE or WHILST, both are same. This one, the one with ST, is more academic than the other one. Yes, Monday. So as you said, while is used when two things happen at the same time. So the second thing is not happening in 1952. The second thing is present tense. So it is not happening in 1952. That's why we haven't used while. The last question for reading writing blanks for today, 2.5 minutes, and then we have a discussion. Please post your answers. All right, should be done. Is the traffic on display on the road? What does this mean? There is traffic display on the road. 𝗙𝗏𝗃 provides drivers with ongoing information about the surrounding driving environment. This is basically all in capitals, means it's the name of something. So this is kind of, we have Google Maps, so some kind of application must be. So this application provides drivers with information about their surrounding driving environment, including potential traffic on the road. So this application tell us about driving environment. What does it include about the driving environment? It highlights, like the Google Maps highlights red when there is extreme traffic, yellow when there is slightly less traffic, and green, what is it when there's no traffic? So including highlighting potential traffic conflicts on the road. Conflicts means congestion, traffic jams basically. They use the word traffic conflicts a later part of the paragraph to give you a hint that what this traffic conflict means. Wherever there is a conflict in traffic, means the traffic is not smoothly moving. Anything can be a conflict. So including highlighting potential traffic conflicts on the road. Now those who wrote display because of this type of display at least also makes some sense. There is no traffic being displayed on the road. This type of display was referring to the whole of this application, what it shows in the application. This type of display led to the shortest reaction time in scenarios where drivers had to dash control of the vehicle. So drivers had to overtake, give, take over, overturn. So drivers have to take the control, have to take over. Maybe from maybe like they are very casually driving, but if there is a traffic congestion, you have to be very active. So you have to take over the control. Means you have to see all the things perfectly, judgment perfectly. They had to take over control of the vehicle, showing a significant improvement from both the 𝗙𝗏𝗃 and the no display condition. So they're comparing it with the earlier software where things were not visible. When you are not driving and aren't engaged, it's easy to lose focus if the person is sitting next to the driver or on the rear seat. Adding information on surrounding traffic kept drivers better engaged in monitoring and dash traffic conflicts. So they have used ing form of verb. We should also go with that. So do we assure traffic conflicts, provide, or anticipate? So it will be keep the drivers better engaged in monitoring and anticipating. Anticipating means having kind of an idea that if there's a red highlight, that means there is going to be traffic jam there. Yellow highlight means there will be some sort of traffic conflict. So anticipating traffic conflicts, says he, adding that the key dash for designers of next generation is to ensure. So is tells us that the answer has to be singular. The dash is to ensure systems. So for singular answers, particulars will be eliminated. Conclusion, we are not writing a research or thesis or something that we can say the conclusion is. It is the takeaway for designers. Designers means the people who are going to design the application. What can they learn from this discussion? Takeaway is what is the message for them. So the key message for those designers of next generation who are going to make it better is to ensure systems are designed to keep drivers attentive. So whatever application they make, the lesson for them is that you have to make sure that the drivers are attentive. So make something like that. Drivers should not be dashed at least at this stage. So it becomes third form of verb. Drivers should not be engaged is leading to accidents. So definitely we'll say drivers should not be distracted, that they should be completely focused. They should not be distracted anywhere. That kind of application you have to make. So these are the answers. First, because we were talking about an application, so that's why we said the application highlights potential traffic conflicts. Conflicts means any kind of thing that you need to know if you are driving about the traffic. So they have to take over the control, means they have to take charge. They have to actively drive in that scenario. They adding information on surrounding traffic kept drivers better engaged in monitoring and anticipating traffic conflicts. So this is what you must be knowing, especially boys. So I think there's an option on, I don't know which maps, that if there is a camera, then you can add there so that the other people who are using the map, they come to know that there is a camera. So we can add in that application for other people to know. So that is what they're saying, that adding information on surrounding traffic kept drivers better engaged. Or the meaning of this could also be that because that application tells you what the surrounding traffic is, so the drivers, they get better engaged in the app because they get information that, okay, if I take this route, it will be easier, or that route. So both the things are possible. So they keep on monitoring and they keep on anticipating. Anticipating means kind of getting an idea before reaching to that place and how much time it's going to take if I go from this much traffic. So that is anticipating. What else do we have in INGs? Assuring. So drivers cannot make sure that there is traffic conflict. So assure cannot be the answer. And drivers also cannot provide traffic conflict. Who provides a traffic conflict? We cannot do that. So they anticipate, that they kind of predict how much time or how far is the traffic and how can I get through these things. And drivers should not obviously be distracted. They should be focused. If we put this, driver should not be distracting, that will mean distracting somebody. But why will a driver distract somebody else? Here we want to say we are talking about how to make the application best for drivers. So application should be such that it should not distract drivers. So have you used any mobile application, Diksha, anytime? That application like Google Maps or something, that application never mentions something. It just shows you, like green, as I said, red highlight where there's more traffic, yellow highlight where there's comparatively lesser traffic. So they highlight. They don't mention it. They don't write it. So if we put engaged in the last blank, what is happening to you? What we say, drivers should not be engaged. So drivers should be engaged means active. So you're saying drivers should not be active. So what do we mean? The drivers should be without focus, driving with carelessness. Otherwise also nil, right? We don't put distracted. What else does fit here? So drivers should not be distracting. That means distracting somebody. But why would a driver distract somebody else? So we are talking about driver himself, that they should not be distracted anywhere. Yusuf, here that singular plural will not apply because traffic, see that singular plural rule applies with noun plus verb. Traffic conflicts is together a noun. It's together the name of something that we want to talk about. So we want to talk about traffic conflicts. Here S is not because traffic is singular. Both of them combined is one noun. Okay, so let's move on to the orders. And here you have your first question. 2 minutes for this and then post your answers, please. Not even one correct answer. Do you want to retry? Take 1 more minute and rethink. Okay, let me give you a hint. E is the first sentence. Now change your answers, all of you, and try to understand. See, the reason is, if we will put sentence B as our first sentence, then you can only talk about tea in China, because the first sentence is your broadest area. You cannot go out of China then. Is it? No. Am I on mute? Am I audible? Okay. That's okay, Shalita. So what I was saying is, why cannot we put sentence B as number one is because if we put B as number one, that means we can only stay in the context of China. But there are sentences which are not talking about China. So we have to start on a general note. If I had said that tea is a healthy drink some years before the introduction of green tea, I might have been ridiculed. This is a general way. I here does not refer to any particular person. It would be out of the whole article from where we have taken these sentences, there would be a human being. But out of these 5 sentences, we cannot say that this is referring to a human being. This is the most general sentence, which is telling us that if a person would have said that tea is healthy before introduction of green tea, that person would have been ridiculed. So then we had a reference, this green tea. Here we are talking about introduction of green tea. So introduction will come first, and then we'll say we came to know about this green tea very late, because both of the sentences are talking about introduction only. So when do you came to know about green tea is also the introduction of green tea. Now that I was introduced to green tea very late, or we were introduced to green tea very late. And then there was but here and justification of connectors. But means the two sentences should be opposite about the same topic. So here we said we came to know about green tea very late, and here we are saying that Chinese people were very well aware from ancient times. Means they knew about it beforehand. So this is the same topic. Somebody is getting to know earlier, others are getting to know late. So that means we are talking opposite about the time. So that is why this comes at number 3, because we are continuing the topic and we have to justify but here. And then we talk about further explain about China. That in China there is a proverb, better to be deprived of food for 3 days than tea of one, and they were using the tea as a cure. Were using, because the whole story is of past tense, how green tea came to be known to people. They were using the tea as a cure for headache, depression, and many other ailments. So all these things about past. And then the last sentence, over the last few decades, green tea has undergone many scientific and medical studies to determine the extent of its long health benefits. And if we put this as number 1, some of you even wrote A as number 1, then you can only talk about the benefits of green tea and the scientific and medical studies about green tea. Then we cannot go back to its past. So that is why it is very important to know that what is written in your 5 sentences or what is written in your majority of sentences, and accordingly find your first sentence. The problem about reorders is that these 4-5 sentences are taken from in between some article. They don't take the first 4 lines of the article, right? So that is why you don't have to think for what is the general sentence on the topic. You have to think what is the general sentence out of these 5 sentences only, that I can put all the other 4 sentences in that topic. So that is how you have to think for your introductory sentence. Right, so this was, we have to, and always look for conjunctions and connectors. They'll always help you to make correct pairs, and the first sentence should be one which all other sentences can be accommodated into. Right? So Neha, what did I just say? If you put but, that means the opposite should come before but, and you are saying to put the opposite after but, then what is this but for? So but, however, nevertheless means the opposite of this sentence should come before this sentence. So what is opposite in E and C? So the C and D sentence were opposite about time. They know it from ancient time, and other people got to know about it late. That is the opposite thing. Why not C? I think we have explained this. Because you have 3 more sentences talking about past tense. So you cannot go from past, present, and again past. Tenses are also to be justified. Last few decades is not ancient time. Last few decades means the latest time. Okay, the question number 2, and you have 2 minutes for this. Please post your answers. You have missed the introduction again. How do you know that your topic is moving average? Which is the sentence in which they introduced moving average to you? The sentence number one, they said many so-called indicators for stocks and indexes take on complex hues, such as taking on moving averages of moving averages and so on. So moving average was an example of all the indicators. So first we will tell that what is moving average. Moving average is one of the indicators for stocks and indexes. That is the definition kind of thing. So when you introduce something, the introduction can be in the form of an example also. There's no harm in introducing something in the form of example. For example, there's a sentence in the portal also, the question on chimpanzees. They say now one of the species for this and this is chimpanzee. And then you start talking about chimpanzees. You can take what you have done is you have explained everything about moving average, and then you said, oh sorry, moving average is this. So first introduce that many so-called indicators are there and one of them is moving average. This is our topic for today. And then you start talking about moving average. And then they gave furthermore definition like moving average is simply a smoothing function. It gets rid of periodic volatility to tell you the recent trend. This is also kind of explanation that what is moving average. It is one of the indicators, and what exactly it is that we are explaining it. And then there is one sentence which says but smoothing. So here is where we introduce smoothing in inverted commas, and we are continuing to talk about that. It's a smoothing function. It gets rid of periodic volatility to tell you the recent trend, but it has disadvantages also. What are the disadvantages? It reacts slowly to sudden change, so it will only tell you the trend has changed after the trend has changed. I'm not understanding anything out of this, to be very honest, but I don't need to understand. And then in the end, you'll talk about future tense, because here they started talking about future, so we'll continue. Moving average indicator will always be a little late and whatever. So this is introduction, that we are going to talk about one of the indicators such as this. Give a definition, to give a brief explanation, and then contradict. Smoothing function, but smoothing function. One positive thing about smoothing function, one negative thing, and then whatever is left. Don't miss the introduction styles. So it's very important to identify what is the writing style to introduce something. A sentence will come first, then will come the sentence. Right? And we are left with the last question for reorders. 2 minutes for this, and then post your answers. Good, good. At least some of you have understood it. So the first sentence was D. Editorial cartoons, once barely recognized as a source of humor for the masses, are now studied as important sources of historical documentation and literary value. So editorial cartoons, once they were barely means almost no. So they were not recognized only, or they were barely recognized for humor, but now they are very important. And this has led to a revision. This means this change of thought, this change in their importance has led to revision. So obviously something which was not important earlier is now important. So obviously we'll have to revise the things. This has led to a revision in the view of what constitutes historical and literary debate and of what constitutes the sources of this debate. So these were two sentences which were very easily connected with the pronoun, basically this. And then they gave an example. Beginning with Midnight's Children, there has been a steady breakdown of the disciplinary wall between literature and history. So Midnight's Children with capital M and capital C means that this is the name of some book, should be. So beginning with this book or this writing piece, there was a breakdown of the disciplinary wall between literature and history. Means things earlier used to be separately for literature and separately for history, and now maybe this has combined both of them. And then we have 4 and 5 is what I am also confused with, because if we go with this, that there has been a steady breakdown of the disciplinary wall between literature and history. So if I go with this, it should be the reading public of today seems to be more tolerant of this crossover. So this crossover can be this also, and this crossover than the predecessors might have been. And we have both writers and readers seem to enjoy crossing the line between documentation and fiction. Should be BA, I think, because this crossover can be about documentation and fiction. Writers and readers, and then indeed the reading public of today. Because reading public cannot include writers. So it should be writers and readers and then reading public, only readers. Should be B and then A. So this is the answer. First is our topic that earlier the cartoons were not very important, but now they are important. So this has led to the revision. Let me try to cross-check it right now. And then we took an example of one writing style that with this piece of writing things have changed, which was Midnight's cartoons. Midnight's Children, sorry. Anybody who has the excerpt for this maybe? Just give me 1 second. C cannot be the first sentence because C is just an example of one piece of writing, and our topic is not that book only. Our topic is cartoons in general. That is why C cannot be the first one. No. Yeah, my confusion was right. So they say this is our topic. This was the example, and then A comes first because A was specifying indeed on what we said in 3. that beginning with Midnight's Children, there has been a steady breakdown of the um, disciplinary wall between literature and history, and then they were talking about the same thing. Indeed, is when you want to say for sure. The reading public of today seems to be more tolerant of this crossover than this. So crossover was literature and history, because documentation and fiction is not a crossover. Crossover is like this interchange of, or this mixing of literature and history. So this crossover will be for literature and history, and then you just narrow down to both writers and readers seem to enjoy crossing the line between documentation and fiction. This is narrowing down. So this was more on saying yes to what we said in C in sentence 3, and then saying this crossover between literature and history. So that will be A and B, not B and A. Right? But yes, the last pair would be called confusing because of this crossing also. I hope it's clear now, and clear that why C cannot be the first sentence also. That was just one example of one book. Okay, thank you. So we have the first question for reading blanks on the screen, and you have 2 minutes for this. Please post your answers and then we have a discussion. Okay, should be done. Only 4 or 5 answers here. Post your answers, rest of you. So they say a good percentage of the population of India is tribal. The tribals live in the hills and forests of the country and have been dashed by the cultural currents of the plains. And have been by means ed form of verb. So we are talking about people basically. People are dashed by the currents of the plains. So people are not affected, because little affected means not much affected. These people are not much affected by the cultural currents of the plains. Practically all the states of India have their tribal population. The tribes are numerous, computed to be over 200. Some living in regions in dense forests and others on the borders of villages. The sentence is complete, so we have to find adjective, what kind of regions they were living in, any word that can describe a region. So we can say marshy. Marshy is a type of and what is it called? Soil or type of area. So marshy regions of forest where we have a lot of water, and others on the borders of villages. So this was just a describing word for region. Some tribes are dashed to a few souls, while others are in millions. So while means we have to go opposite. One side we have millions of people, so definitely the opposite side will be very less people. So some tribes are dashed to a few souls, something that matches with two, and with R comes ed form. So some tribes are confined means limited, means there are only few people of that tribe, whereas there are other tribes in which there are millions of people and are steadily dashed in numbers, and those millions are increasing in numbers. During the British period, some of them were known as criminal tribes, for they showed dash respect for the Indian Penal Code. So criminal tribes means we need negative word. They will not be showing much respect. If they show respect to the Indian Penal Code, why will we call them criminals? So they were called criminal tribes because they show very little respect or no respect. So any word that can mean that is scant. Scant means very less. So you can note down the meanings if you did not know this. Very less respect, that is why they were called criminal tribes. Unnecessarily, you have pushed the word domicile into your answers, then it was not required. Other words were fitting. I told you only go for a word whose meaning you don't know if the other words are not fitting. But when they are fitting, then why are you taking these big risks? Confined means limited. These are the answers. I hope it's clear. Marshy is a kind of land. Marshy, I think, is called where there's a lot of rainfall and the soil is very full of water. Those not dry areas are called marshy areas. No, domicile means to treat a country, treat some other country as your permanent place of stay. That is called domicile. Cannot be used in exactly wherever you want to say placed. No, it has a different meaning. Because that's the difference of 𝗙𝗍𝗲, active and passive voice. With R comes ing when something is happening, still happening. And R comes ed when that thing has happened already. So they said they are already millions and are dashed in numbers. So and means, again, we are going to go positive. They are already in millions and they are still increasing in numbers. But here have been dashed. Been means passive voice. So they are not affected by. Before by, we put ed form of verb. Confined is not only used in terms of place. Confined can be anything which is limited. Scant means very less. Have you heard scanty rainfall? Scanty means very less. Scant is also a form of scanty only, which means very less. The second question on the screen and 2 minutes for this. Please post your answers. Easy one. They say starting a complete data entry business is dash than trying to work. So with than comes second form of verb, and I can see all correct answers. It's easier than trying to work from job to job. Having a business means that people will come to your business whenever they need a service something like you provide. So what we have is we have give but a better one, service you offer. So we offer the services. Give is like you have to take it. We don't give the service, we offer. If you want it, you can take it. This also means that instead of having to always dash for jobs on freelancing websites, so we simply apply for jobs. So we can go with instead having to always apply for jobs on websites, you will be able to have clients come to you as needed. One important thing to dash when starting the business is that customer service is really important. This is kind of an advice, so we can say one thing to remember is that customer service is always important. Right? All good? Any confusions? Good, well done. So we just look for jobs on websites. We just open the website, look for job and close the website. Will we get work in this way? So you have to understand the context. We apply jobs to get the work, but if we have a business, we don't have to apply. People will means work will automatically come. Third one, 2 minutes for this. Okay, should be done. The first answer is English has without a dash become the second language of Europe. Without a doubt means like I said, there is no doubt English is the second language because it has become so widespread. Without a doubt, it has become the second language. European countries which have assimilated English into daily life are England's neighbors in Northern Europe. The sentence was complete. Still, we have a blank and we have most also. So we can say most successfully because we needed ly form of verb. Assimilated is a verb. So we need adverb here. These are the names of the countries. The situation is so marked that any visitor to the Netherlands will soon be dashed off the pressure of English. So soon be dash off, a word that matches with off. That means if any person goes to Netherlands, that person will be aware of the. Some of you have written acquainted. Acquainted comes with the word with, not with of. So that's why it is aware of the pressure of English. In daily life, television, radio, and print bring it into every home and the schoolyard dash of children. So what do children have in schoolyard? They have conversations. They talk to each other in playgrounds. So schoolyard conversation of children. Advertisers use it to dash up their message. So pep up is a collocation. If you did not know this, please note it down. Pep up their message, and pep means just to make it more lively, make it more reachable. That is, we use the word pep up for. Right, so these are the answers. Any confusion in this question, anyone? Okay, well done. Third one, aware of, that if anybody goes to Netherlands, they will easily come to know. So they'll become aware of. And we have the last question for today. Schoolyard enthusiasm of children. So what is language doing in enthusiasm? Conversation has language. No? Enthusiasm can be they are playing. What does language have to do in that? Question number 4, 2 minutes, and then post your answers, please. Okay, should be done. The first answer, drinking practices vary among different countries. The sentence is complete. Vary is a verb, so we should be looking for adverb. And we have substantially, means there's a big difference. Vary substantially means a big difference is there. And dash of such differences. So with and comes vowel, and understanding of such differences can help researchers, clinicians, and policymakers develop prevention, diagnostic, and treatment dash, as well as overall alcohol policies. So this is plural. That means this also should be plural. Also, there are prevention, diagnostic, and treatment are three things. So it should be plural. Prevention, diagnostic, and treatment measures as well as policies that are dashed for a given country that are appropriate. Means they have to see which policy and which measure is appropriate for which country, and accordingly they make it. Accordingly, researchers have conducted cross-cultural analysis of drinking patterns and dash. So here practices is more suitable, patterns and practices, because they are analyzed that what pattern do people drink, or how much they drink, or how occasionally they drink, and the practices of drinking. So that's more suitable here. When we are finding solutions, then practice is not a solution. That is, a solution is a measure. So that's why measure is here and practice is here. So I hope it's fine. Any confusion in this question? Anybody? Even is used when you want to say other things are not done. Even this one is not done. For example, if I say you haven't even completed 10 questions, that means it's okay, you haven't done a lot of the things, but at least 10 questions should have been done. That is how when we use the word even. And there's nothing like that. There's no piece of any other practices being discussed. So that is why we cannot say even here. Even for a country also means the same. Vary is a verb. Even for a country means you are not doing it for the world. You are not even doing it for a country. So even means not even, not this thing. That is how we use the word even. Fifth answer is practices. Right, so that's all for today. Yes, Amrit, because in that sense we did not need third. We don't need a verb in that plan. Like if I say people will be dash of COVID, so we don't need a verb. People will be what of COVID? What means we need now? People will be aware of COVID. In that sense, we cannot say with be comes third form, because we are not using aware as a verb there. So if verb is required, then third form. Okay, guys, that's all for today. Thank you so much for attending, and we do have a class tomorrow, 6:30 p.m. according to Sydney time. Please make sure you're attending it. Please make sure you're making notes, and please make sure that you're using those things in everyday life. Everyday life. Okay, start using it in everyday life apart from the questions. Okay, bye bye. Take care. Good night. And I will see you all tomorrow. I have to rush. Bye bye. See you tomorrow.